200. You can stand, turn to 200, please. Sing unto the Lord this morning. Stand, turn 200. The Lord is good. Wherever you go, the Lord is good. Tell it wherever we go. Tell of His blessings and tell of His love. Tell of His coming from heaven above. The Lord is good. Tell it wherever you go. We'll try that again. The Lord is good. Tell it wherever you go. The Lord is good. Tell it that others may know. Tell of His blessings and tell of His love. Tell of His coming from heaven above. The Lord is good. Tell it wherever you go.
All right, we are in Joshua. And we left off in Joshua, if we review this, the faithfulness of God. Everything He promised them to do, where the sole of their foot, if we start over here, wherever they set their foot, God would give it to them. And He kept that promise. So He's a God that keeps His promises, which means we will have a home in heaven, which means there are rewards waiting for us, which means He is coming again, which means we will rule and reign with Him for 1,000 years, and so on. So and the idea here is God does His part, but we must do our part. Joshua 1:3, wherever the sole of the foot went, if they didn't march in there, it wasn't going to happen. You're not going to lay in bed and have all this take place. And then God hates sin. We looked at that in Deuteronomy. We need to get the victory over sin. Joshua begins and ends with death. We looked at the first and last verse. Number 6 was the only place in the Bible where the word success is used, Joshua 1:8. And then I wrote a bunch of others that are one time in the Bible. One is potentate, success, Easter, Calvary, handiwork, handwriting, wench, schism. Now, if I read these words off, just in reading those, which ones of these, there's 2 of them that I can think of off the top of my head that do not appear, let's say in an NIV. Potentate, success, Easter, Calvary, handiwork, handwriting, wench, and schism. Which 2 words don't appear in an NIV? Easter and Calvary. So when they talk about Calvary, and you hear the Scotsmen, at the big church saying, hey, Calvary. Well, it doesn't even appear in His Bible when they do that. Or when they bring up Easter, it doesn't even appear. How does it appear in their Bible, the word Easter? Passover. How many times does Passover show up in the Bible? 50. 50 times. That's the only place it appears as the word Easter.
10 times 5.
All right, now, we did look up this giving no sinner a possession. We looked that up. In other words, he gets in, but there's no inheritance. God doesn't use dreams and visions anymore, and angels. He uses a book. We looked that up. The scarlet thread. We looked up the blood of Christ is throughout the entire Bible. Rahab, that she is one of 4 women that are named in the genealogy, and she is related to royalty, and related to Jesus. And of the four women, which is the one that is where you can't really point and say there's sin there? Of the four women in the genealogy, Ruth. And what are the other three women? Rahab.
Harlot.
What are the other three? Rahab, Bathsheba.
Sorry.
Say it again.
Anna?
No. Tamar. Yeah. Those are the other three. Tamar, Bathsheba, and Rahab. All right. The miracle crossing, we looked at that, and it does state it was high water. The space between was about, as it says, 2,000 cubits, and we likened that unto 2,000 years, and we looked up all those verses last time. All right, that's where we ended last time. Father, bless our lesson in that would give us clear understanding and confidence in your word now. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. The manna was to cease once they had crossed over. Joshua 5, 10 through 12. The children of Israel encamped at Gilgal and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow, after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the selfsame day. And the manna ceased on the morrow, after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year. By the way, the old corn, how would they, in the law, how did they sustain themselves? And why did Israel go into captivity? We're talking about food now, literal food.
They didn't give the land the Sabbath rest.
It's the seventh year rest. And for how many years did they do that?
77.
No?
490.
How many years were they in captivity?
400.
Wait, you already said it. It was the first word. How many?
70.
Yeah, but the other number you gave.
490.
490. That's right, 490. It was every seventh year, and Joe said 70. They were in 70 years in captivity, so 7 times 7 was the 490 years. So they did do it for 490 years, and they had to let the land rest every seventh year, and that's why they were in captivity for 70 years, giving the land all that rest, because they weren't there to till the land, they were in captivity. There are people that still keep that law. There are people that do that. And anyway, we would call that you let it rest. Another reason to let it rest. Why were there reasons to let it rest? Another reason.
Let the land heal.
Okay, the land to heal. It was there for the whatever came up was for the poor. I'm pretty sure you were not when you didn't harvest the corners of the crop that was left there. You didn't harvest that. That was for the poor. You didn't go in there and glean. There was no gleaning. That was for the poor, and so on. And God took care of them that way. All right. Anyway, the manna came down from heaven. Let's go ahead and look up these. Why it's a type of Jesus Christ. Exodus 16, 4. Exodus 16:4. Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you. People shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. All right, so You know, it's just like the manna, when they gathered it every day, but on the sixth day, they gathered a double portion. Well, the same was true for tilling the land. Was to let it rest every seventh year, and they would have enough in store to last till the next year, All right, so the manna came down from heaven, 78. I think this is where it says it's angel food. Psalm 78. If it's angel food, we call this in our discipleship program, that's called the vegetables of the diet, all this is likened unto that. 78, verses 23 through 25. Though he had commanded the clouds from above and opened the doors of heaven, he had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them of the corn of heaven. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. So the idea is it comes down from heaven, that Jesus comes. Yes, sir.
It was also for the animals. What was left over was for the animals to eat.
Does it actually state that in the Bible?
Yeah, Exodus 23:11.
Okay. In fact, I'm there. 23:11.
Beast of the field.
23:11. But seventh year thou shalt let it be still. The poor of the people may eat, and what they leave, the beasts of the field shall eat. Right. Yeah.
And the stranger.
And the stranger.
It's Leviticus 19:10.
Okay. All right. Exodus 16:15. You don't have to understand it.
And we're the strangers, aren't we? We're the Gentiles.
We're the Gentiles. 16:15. You don't have to understand it, just eat it. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, this is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat. They didn't know what it was. Well, the idea about Jesus, you don't necessarily have to understand it. Why does the blood cleanse? You know, people, I bring this up, and I would bring this up when I was coming up. Well, why the blood? And then what's the answer to that? Oh, well, give me a biblical reason. In Hebrews.
Without the shedding of blood, there's no
Remission. And then but I always go back to the same thing. Well, why? Why did God do that? Or you go back to Cain and Abel. Well, why? But why? Then they'll go, well, without the shedding of blood, there's no remission. Well, I can still go back and say, well, why? I don't understand it. I don't know why. Because, like Joe said, because God said it. God said it. That's why. And so it's not important that we need to know that. The important part is that we just accept it. We don't have to understand it. Just accept it and eat it. It's miraculous and mysterious. Exodus 16:10 through 14. Came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmuring of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God. Came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, or as small as the hoarfrost on the ground. So the idea here is that it's mysterious. It's left behind, and they didn't know what it was. So it's as a type of Christ, he's miraculous. It is mysterious. Name some miraculous things about Jesus.
No human father.
He doesn't have a father, no mother and no father. Where do you find that? No mother and no father. Who in the Bible has no mother and no father?
Melchizedek.
Melchizedek, you're right. You'll find that in Genesis, and then he talks about that in Hebrews. Right? No mother and father.
Adam.
Say that again?
Adam.
Well, help me out.
But Adam doesn't have a mother and father. He's a type of Christ, too, so.
And he is a type of Christ. Yeah. No father, no... You know, people say he has no belly button, you know.
No mother-in-law.
Yeah. Maybe we could go there.
No offense against mothers-in-law.
And so, does a man have one less rib than a woman?
You think so?
But see, that's not true. It's just because he takes a rib out of a person doesn't mean that the offspring. Just because you had your leg removed doesn't mean if you have a child they're born with one missing leg. Those are answers to those type of questions. You know, because they think of these. People do think of those things. All right, give me another one. What's miraculous?
He spoke and people fell down. I don't know if it's a miracle.
Say that again.
He spoke and men fell.
Yeah, you know, those that came to arrest him. But generally speaking, when Jesus speaks, do men fall down? In a charismatic church where they're doing healing, which way do the people be healed? And where do they fall?
They fall backwards.
They fall backwards. When Jesus does it, what happens?
You fall forward.
You get up. You don't fall down. You get up. Yeah. So give me another one.
Talking about healing?
No, anything miraculous.
Rose from the dead.
Huh? He rose from the dead.
He healed people without a license.
Healed people without a license. Yeah, he didn't have a license. Yeah, he didn't have a license to preach. He became invisible. He did that more than once. He passed through the midst of them. Where is he? You know, where is this guy? A virgin birth. A virgin birth. All those things that we could think of that are. And it says it was a secret. All these things are secrets since the foundation of the world. That people don't understand. It's miraculous. It is mysterious. Mysterious. All right. Numbers 11. Numbers 11, 6 through 9. Beaten in a mortar. And so you have the logo for a pharmacy is a mortar and a pestle. Pestle is the cup and the crusher. The cup and the crusher. 11 verses 6 through 9. But now our soul is dried away. There's nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes. And the manna was in coriander seed, and the color thereof as the color of bdellium. Now, why is color spelled C-O-L-O-U-R?
Because it's the right way to spell it.
Because it's the right way to spell it. It's because it's British. Old English. So give me other words that are that way. Color. Favor.
Savior.
Savior.
Old, O-L-D-E. old.
That's another one. O-L-D-E. I don't know if it may not occur in a not a revision, in an addition, not revision. We would call it an addition, where they change the spellings. You would have O-L-D-E in that Bible back there, in that King James Bible. Another one would be the word honor, Honour. How is son spelled in the old, that 1630 back there? Where we spell S-O-N, and it's spelled S-O-N in your Bible. How's son spelled in there?
Well, ask him.
S? Oh, yeah. I think it's S-O-N-N-E.
Yeah.
Son. S-O-N-N-E. And you'll find a lot of that in there. And so people may say, well, this is just a revised, it's not revisions, it's different editions. And spelling, there were errors. Why would there be an error? There's the He Bible or the She Bible. Why would there be an error in the Bible?
Printer
Mistakes.
printer mistake.
Is these guys were typesetters or a scribe, and this is before the printing press.
They were rushed to get it out too.
There were scribes, they had to hand print this, and they will say, why is a word wrong, is they'll say there was a scribal error. And the scribal error in some of these things, when you're doing the Greek and the Hebrew, there has to be the little hickey, a little thing here, a little thing there, and if it was scribbled and wasn't, you could misread it, and then all of a sudden the word changes.
Jot and tittle.
The jot and the tittle weren't put in the right spot. And that could happen because it's all handwritten. All of it is handwritten. And so if you're typesetting this, when did they make the printing press? When's Gutenberg?
1256.
Is it 1400s or 1500s? Or is it 1600s? The first thing that came off of the printing press was the 1611 Bible, I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, I take that back.
Bible.
I'm sorry. It was the Great Bible? Well, anyway, the 1611 came off the printing press with worn copy. That's why the originals are not real crisp, because it's worn copy. I still set type, and our copy gets worn. The type is made out of what?
Lead.
Brass.
Brass.
And then the stylus is a hardened steel. And if it's ground where it's sharp, you want to make it dull. It depends on the person who's doing it too. It depends on the person that's holding it. You could have two people holding the same Bible, using it the same amount, everything the same. One guy's abusive and one guy isn't. One guy dog ears the pages within a month. The other guy's, it's nice and crisp and clean because he's careful when he's using his Bible. So, anyway, what are we on here? It's beaten in a mortar. And so it is, okay, let's see. I stopped at the verse 7 on the word color. And the people went about and gathered it and ground it in mills, or beat it in a mortar and baked it in pans and made cakes of it, and the taste of it was the taste of fresh oil. So it was beaten. So Jesus was beaten and ground. Who else was beaten and ground? A type of Christ in the Bible. And I would say it's a perfect type of Christ, and we preached it that way. Oh, no. Was he beaten? He was stoned. But who would, no, I shouldn't say beaten. Maybe I shouldn't say that. He was grinding. Samson was grinding. They put him in the mill and he ground. So instead of having a mule do it, or an ass or something, he did it. In other words, walking around with a millstone grinding. So all those things, where Samson is blinded, where they blindfolded Jesus, all that stuff all points to Jesus. All right, beaten in a mortar, the bruising of Christ. Exodus 16:23. And he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said, tomorrow, by the way, tomorrow, Tomorrow, you can't find that. That word's not in the Bible. We make it as one word. In the Bible, it's two words. There are, forever is not a Bible word. I don't think forever is a Bible word. How does it appear? No, for is one word and ever is another. There are words like that where they're not combined together as you and I do it. Not that it doesn't change the meaning. I'm just saying that's the way it's printed. All right. Verse 23, and he said unto them, This is that which the Lord hath said, Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which ye will bake today, and seethe that ye will seethe, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning. All right, so it's baked, so it's cooked, it's put under the fire. Seething, what is seething? I didn't look it up in the dictionary. What is to seethe? S-E-E-T-H-E.
Boil?
I would assume boil. Boil it. It's like meat. What would you rather have if you had a steak? A broiled steak, a boiled steak, or a fried steak?
Boil.
Pardon?
The first one.
The broiled steak over an open fire. We were out west one time, and this had been the mid-'60s. We got into a Western restaurant, and I don't know if I ordered it, maybe my dad ordered it. They ordered a T-bone or a steak. It was the size of a cow. This steak came out, it was enormous. This plate was enormous, it fell off the plate, it was so big. Was it broiled, fried, or boiled?
Boiled.
Say it?
Boiled.
It was not boiled.
Fried.
It was fried. And it didn't read that way on the menu. It didn't say you're getting a fried steak. It's not like fried country steak. And then he was shocked to get it like that. And this was a dinner, and this was at, it wasn't a chain, it was a family restaurant, and cowboys are in there, and I guess we were talking amongst each other, my mom and the rest of my siblings, and the reason is why the cowboy comes home, he said, boy, the way you make the steak, it's not near as good as I have out on the range. What's the difference? Eating it at the house and eating it out on the range. What would have been the difference in the cooking of the steak? If you're out on the range,
Open fire?
it's broiled over an open fire. And the guy says, well, it was really delicious. But I come home, dear, and now it's this steak, and it's not as near as good. It was like shoe leather, and it was fried. And it could be that that's just the way they did it. They didn't get with it, the program, as the Easterners, and eventually they do. Right? What do you want to eat for a steak? I don't know, this has nothing to do with the lesson. Do you want to eat Eastern beef or Western beef?
Amish beef.
You want to eat Eastern beef. You want black Angus.
That's Amish.
They're corn-fed. The grass is plentiful. Out west, they got to run a long way between each blade.
Yeah.
They say, well, the grass is rich. With all those steaks, and you get those Western steaks, maybe not today, but if you got that 50 years ago, they're tougher than shoe leather. That skinny cow's got to run to get to the next blade of grass. Anyway, it's exposed to fire, suffered the wrath of God. What else was exposed to fire in the Passover? In the Passover, the lamb was exposed to fire, and all the stuff that was prepared, and it was all burned, showing all a type of the suffering of the wrath of God. All right, Exodus 16, 32 through 34. We have never seen manna. Okay, Moses said, this is the thing which the Lord commandeth. Fill an omer, whatever an omer is, this amount of it to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread wherewith I have fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt. And Moses said unto them, take a pot, put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it up for the Lord to be kept for your generations. As the Lord commanded Aaron, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. All right, it was that we have never seen manna, and it was to be a reminder, and we have never seen Jesus Christ. Are there those that claim they have seen Jesus Christ? What are they smoking? What are they seeing? There are those, Our Lady of Fatima.
The devil.
And when did they see Our Lady of Fatima? When was that?
1917 or something.
Is that, like 1916, 1917?
Just before the...
Now we say, and it's supposed to be the Virgin Mary. They're probably seeing they're seeing a form of the devil, what they're seeing. We had a film up there. I don't know if we still have it. I don't know if Chick put it out or not. When they see I think it's in South America, these kids walk in unison, and they're staring at something that no one else can see, and the whole town is following it. It's as demonic as it gets. They're walking in unison. I think there's 3 children. I think they're brothers and sisters. Walking in unison, they turn in unison. And like, it's, ever see birds, how they fly, how they all fly together?
Yeah,
It's like that.
of one mind.
Of one mind. Yeah, they're moving around like that. It's spooky. It's spooky. And it's something, it's like Our Lady of Roses. There's what do they call that one? The one where the roses are left. Can't think of that. It's in South America. I think it's in Mexico.
The rose.
I don't know. I can't think of it. It's all demonic.
Guadalupe?
I think you're right. I think it's Our Lady of Guadalupe. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right there. All right. By the way, what was kept in the ark? Here they keep this. They filled this omer to be kept. Now here they don't say about putting it in there. What was kept in the ark?
Aaron's rod.
Aaron's rod that budded. I think the omer of manna was to be kept in there. What else was kept in there?
The tables of
The
law.
tables of stone, the 10 Commandments. Those are the 3 things that were supposed to be in there. You can look it up. They finally opened it up. You know, the Philistines opened it up, and that was a no-no. And then the Israelites opened it up, and that was a no-no. That was a no-no. After it was returned, I think they opened it up. What was left in there? I think there was only one thing left in it. I think the tablets only. And then I think Aaron's rod and the omer of manna, that was gone when they opened it up. And only the tablets are there. Anyway, and there's always this big battle. The 7-Day War, didn't Israel take possession of Jerusalem at that 7-Day War?
6-Day War.
Is that the 6-Day War? Is there a 7-Day War or only a 6-Day War? Well, there's the 48 War, there's the 1967, is it 67, the 6-Day War? Pardon?
Yes.
1967 was the 6-Day War. Then they're getting down underneath where the temple was in those catacombs and finding artifacts. And then somehow that all got shut down, and then they had to get out. And they couldn't look for other things. The hope was to find, they hoped to find some of these artifacts. Anyway, manna gives physical life. Christ, the life of the body, the soul, and spirit. John 6, excuse me, Gospel of John, where he talks about the bread of life. He feeds the 5,000 there. They want to make him the God, the bread God. Verses 48 through 52 of John 6, I am that bread of life. Your father did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? And we began at verse 48, and we read through 52. What doctrine does that support then?
The Mass.
It supports the Mass. All right, the Last Supper, he said, take this is my body. Did he actually take a finger off and say, here, eat this? He didn't preach or teach cannibalism. Then how do you answer this? I mean, a Catholic, they got a good argument, just reading verses 48 through 52. 48 through 52. They have a good argument. I mean, it's open for discussion. Look at verse 47. You've got to be able to deal with these people over these issues.
What chapter is that?
John chapter 6, verse 47. The verse before where we started in verse 48. Read verse 47. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me hath everlasting life. All right. All right, to get the life, I will give you the life. If you eat of this flesh, I will give for the life of the world. All right, the bread, as he says in 51 and 52. It's not the literal eating of bread and drinking of this juice. It is believing. Believing and eating are one and the same thing. To believe. That's how you answer that. It dispels all of that. By the way, anybody know what the priest is saying up there when he goes? You're sitting there like this in a stupor. And he's doing this. And he's holding this up here.
Abracadabra.
And that's where you get abracadabra. You get hocus.
Focus.
Now think about it. Hocus pocus dominocus. Isn't that what a magician says? Hocus pocus. He says abracadabra. Now I didn't research these words, but hocus pocus, then dominocus. What is dominocus? Domin. Isn't that another name for God? A deity? Hocus pocus dominocus. That's what they say. So when he's up there doing his secret prayer, they're lifting up. I would be listening to what he says. I'm listening to what the priest says. And I approached the priest after. I said, it sounds to me like you're sacrificing Jesus on the altar again. They didn't like me. I mean, who goes up to a priest and asks them that right after they're doing that service? He said, oh no, what we're doing is we're really sacrificing ourselves up there. I said, are you sure? I said, next week I'm going to listen to that again. They're sacrificing Jesus up there.
Now, according to the Council of Trent, they're wrong.
What are they sacrificing?
According to the Council of Trent and everything before this modern age, when the priest says them words, the bread turns into the actual body.
Oh,
blood, and the
yeah,
divinity.
the whole, yeah, right, that hocus pocus. They actually have one where they do this miraculous thing, they have a vial, and you can see in the vial, and then it changes color into blood of this stuff. I don't know what they do. It's all, it's kind of like one of these charismatic, they have it. What did they want to do during what were they afraid, what's his name, Biden was going to do during in a viral, or even while they're having the real debate? What were they afraid Biden was going to do? How? They're going to have an earpiece. Those charismatics have an earpiece. They have somebody up there reading the answers because they all turn in their answers. Oh, someone's out there, they got cancer. Their name is, wait a minute. Their name is Sarah. You see, they already have that, and he's speaking into the earpiece. It's just all hucksters. It's all hucksters.
If we look at verse 63, Jesus also says his word is spirit.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, that's another one. They are spirit and they are life. All right? It's a spiritual thing, and it's in types. Yes. Yeah, that's the other one I would go to. I would go to that verse right there. The flesh, he says, the flesh profiteth nothing. Right? Doesn't he say that? Yeah, in verse 63, it is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. So eating the literal flesh and drinking the literal blood does nothing. Does nothing. Yeah, that's the other place I would go. So believing is what gives you that everlasting life. It's a spiritual thing. It was within reach. You didn't have to get it. Exodus 16. Back to Exodus 16. And we'll use this as our last verse today. 16:16. This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, and omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents. So manna was within reach, but you didn't. Oh, it was within reach. You didn't have to get it. They had to go outside the camp to get it, to gather it. But you didn't have to get it. If you didn't get it, what would you do? What would happen? You would starve to death. If you don't get Christ, you're going to hell. It's all within reach. You have to get it. You have to believe. And if you don't, you're going to go to hell. So they didn't have to go out and get it if they didn't want to. But every man had to get it. Every man had to go and get it. And we'll start here next week. We'll pick this up here again. Preaching in about 10 minutes. 15 minutes.
There are contact lenses that have a computer display in them.
Say that again?
Joe Biden had these special contacts where you can read the computer just by looking at through the contact lenses.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. Well, didn't he say in the one interview, he said, get it up. He wanted the answers. I can't read the answers.
Yeah.
Get it up. Okay, now he can read the answers.